What we've had over the last few weeks is horrific news from Facebook, well, about Facebook actually, about the data of 50 million users has been harvested and passed on for political consultancy. Facebook have now been talking about changing the privacy settings. I'm going to show you some of the things that perhaps you should be thinking about. They did announce on Wednesday that they were going to be changing the privacy settings to make them easier to control, which frankly is about time. The control settings have been incredibly difficult, and even people who are experts in online privacy and Facebook have found it incredibly difficult to change their settings and to get to the bottom of it. So don't feel as though you're missing anything if that's how you feel about it. So just to introduce myself, because I can now see there are more people online, I'm Sue Llewellyn, and I'm a former BBC journalist turned social media consultant and trainer. And for the Thompson Foundation, I have designed the social media strategy and news gathering online courses as part of the Journalism Now course. So we'll come back to that later. I'm going to take you through step by step on these slides, which I've put together. As I said, on Wednesday, they announced they were going to be changing things. So what I'll show you now is the way it currently is, because for most of us, we haven't got anything different. So when you join Facebook, Facebook actively encourages you to share and frankly to overshare information about yourself. And that's kind of up to you about what you decide to reveal. So what we've got here is we've got, they want you to look at your name and address, where you come from, where you've lived, not only where you've lived in the past, but where you live now. How can I limit who sends me a friend request so they would rather follow it? That's in some of the settings later on, which we'll come to. Kawakazi, I think. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. We'll come back to that one. So basically, it's up to you how much information you share, but these are all the things that Facebook wants you to be sharing with them. So places you've lived, contact and basic information, so your email address, your phone number, your website, the date of your birth, the year of your birth. Frankly, I would never ever share the year of my birth with anybody, or indeed my primary email address with Facebook. Use a secondary one. It wants to know who you're interested in, what your gender is, what your political views are. And if you decide to tell it something about family or relationships, it's even the loss of a loved one, it's very intimate, the amount of details that they are wanting you to share with them. And then down the bottom here, you can see all the pages and likes. I have actually recently, over the last few months, been going through all of these things and literally cutting off anything that I thought was too much information. Assume that everything you share with Facebook will be shared with the world, and then you can't go too far wrong. It's not actually that private. So to find out what Facebook knows about you, if you're on your homepage, you log into Facebook and you go to the far right and you see that little drop down arrow. If you press on that and then go down in the bottom here to settings, so click on that in the top right corner and then go to settings. And then you can see here where the second arrow is pointing, download a copy of your Facebook data. This will take a few minutes, but it's really interesting to find out, and also really shocking, how much information you have shared with Facebook since you joined. In my case, that's quite a number of years, but all the pictures you've shared. Some people have found really strange records of phone conversations. Certainly all the messages and comments. It's very odd looking back on old conversations. So if you do go in there, it'll tell you can get posts and videos you've shared, your conversations you've had, information that you've actually actively shared. So it then downloads it and sends you an email when it's ready. So it's well worth having a look to see how much information is already out there about you, because that's a good starting point. So first of all, while we were waiting for the downloading your data bit, let's have a look what the world can see about you if you want to do that. So you open your Facebook page, your home page, and click on the bit at the top here that's got your face on it. And then it says view as, those three little dots, view as. And this is then going to give you what it looks like when any random member of the public stumbles across your Facebook page. This is very, very important. You can either change the setting to a specific person, if there was a specific person you didn't want to see your stuff, or you can just look at the public setting there. The two things that are absolutely critical in this section are your friends and, and I'll come back to that, your friends and your photos. What I haven't got in this, because I had to put these slides together again, I've lost the section where it tells you how to lock down your friends, but I can describe that to you and put some details up later on. So your photos, you can go in and you can change the settings on each of them so that it's only visible to your friends. I think there are different settings in Facebook. So you can see things from friends, friends of friends, public, or custom and only me. There are many different layers of it. I think the safest thing is okay, I think, for your friends to see your friends, but I don't think it's right for anybody random to see your friends and to see your photos, because the photos and the friends may well be pictures of your family or your mum or something personal that you don't want to reveal. So I think I'll go into more detail on that, but there are certain things you should think about, and I've heard this described. We talk about Facebook privacy settings, but actually it's more helpful if you think of it as Facebook publicity settings. You decide how much of yourself you want to publicize, and this is either publicizing to the world or to your friends. So you think how much information you reveal. As I said, Facebook wants to know everything and encourage you to share everything. So don't share everything unless you're comfortable with it. Think about what you're posting on your timeline. And these can be public or, set to different settings. Your photos, all of these settings are individually able to be changed. The other thing that you need to be aware of is if somebody's tagged you in a photo or in a post. And this is a setting that you can also lock down and change or review before it goes public on your profile. Also be aware of the pages that you've liked and anything that you've liked or commented on, because your profile will turn up here and somebody may well think, who is this person who's liked my page or is commenting on something in a group? They can then open your profile and see everything about you. So have a look at what that setting I've just showed you, the public setting, view as, reveals. Most of the people I train, and so far that's about 5,000 people, most of them are revealing something that they don't want the world to know about. So it's really worth checking your privacy settings on a regular basis. The other thing that I'll talk about a little bit later are the settings on your phone. So what you allow Facebook to do, whether they've got access to your microphone, to your location, to your photos, etc. And then there's the apps. So we'll come back into that later on. At the moment, your privacy settings are all over the place and you have to dig about to find the different bits in it. They are changing it, and I'll show you a couple of slides at the end. On Wednesday, they announced that they were going to make it simpler so that everything should be in one place instead of, as it currently is, about 20 different places. So right now it's a mess and it's not secure. I don't think Facebook has ever been secure, and all this recent hoo-ha has really disrupted the feeling of trust. I never trusted Facebook and I still don't. So this is entirely up to you what you're going to share. So first up again, in this home page here, once you've clicked on this little downward arrow, privacy, there are multiple different levels, and each time, who can see your future posts? Only me. Well, that's a bit silly if it's just you, because nobody will see what you're talking about. But you can go through, review the posts you're tagged in. That's really important. Limit the audience for posts you shared with friends. So go through these, limit past posts if you want to. Who can send you friend requests? Personally, I don't mind if a friend of a friend wants to send me a request. I used to have too many strangers wanting to send me, so I haven't got the public thing open. Who can see your friends list? This is really, really important. If you go in here and you edit it, I think it's okay for your friends to see your friends, but I don't think it's okay for friends of friends, because who knows who they are. Who can look you up using the email address you provided? Well, your friends have probably got your email address, so that's probably all right. and the phone number, but it does make it very easy for researchers and people to find you if there's just too much information out there about you. Do you want search engines outside of Facebook to link to your profile? Frankly, I don't. If you look down the left here, on the left-hand side of the page, we've got timeline and tagging, blocking, language, notifications, etc. This one we're going to come to. This is the privacy section that has been causing all the problems recently, the apps. What apps have access to your details? So timeline and tagging, who can follow you? So you can switch on following or just have a private profile. You don't have to have a page. One thing that is really important, if you ever post anything publicly on Facebook, it's very sneaky that the next time you post will also be public. It remembers the last setting that you posted something. So always, always check before you actually share something, particularly anything sensitive or a family photo or something. Check the settings where it's going to. Is it going public? Is it going to friends of friends? Is it going to friends or a custom list? You can put in a custom list of who sees what. So we're still really here talking about your publicity settings. If you come down a bit more, what we're looking at here now are the privacy settings. These are the ones you don't have control of or haven't thus far had control of. So Facebook makes the money by selling your data. We don't pay for a product, so we are the product. It is entirely up to you how much you're comfortable sharing about yourself, and whether you care that Facebook is selling your data. I think to an extent, that's fine. Just assume, and I always say this when I'm training people, assume that anything you do on social media is public and permanent, and then you will be a little bit more cautious about what you're doing. I haven't mentioned I've been going on about it, but just the list here. So there are 5 settings of the privacy: public, friends of friends, friends, or custom and only me. The custom one is very useful if you want to just post to a certain list of people, your stuff to be seen. But again, you've got to be careful. When you are looking, as I explained a little bit earlier, when you're looking at who can see what about you, this public section, these are the 2 bits you need to look at: your friends and your photos. If the friends and photos are visible, this will mean that anybody can see them. 2 things to bear in mind here as well is that even if you go and you lock down who can see your friends, which is great, and you lock down who can see your photos, your cover shot and your profile shot will always be public. The last 2 pictures, the current pictures on your profile, are public. And one of the things with that is that, as a journalist, if you look at people's pictures, you can see who's liked them. And it might be that your mum has liked a picture or commented on your profile shot to say how nice you look. And that, again, is kind of a leak of your data and people who can find out information about you. So be super careful with who can see your photos. If you've got any questions, there is a very quick and frankly pretty useless privacy checkup system. So when you're in here and you click on the little question mark at the top, this privacy checkup, it just takes you through a few very, very, very basic settings. Do not rely on that privacy checkup. Do not rely on it to protect you. It's just a little, quick privacy checkup. It then goes, after the privacy checkup, who can see my stuff? Who can contact me? How can I stop someone from bothering me? And these see more settings and privacy basics. It's worth just going through each of these for now and clicking on the see more settings. The Facebook help page has got quite a lot of information that you can work your way through step by step. See what I mean? This was what I said about the oh God, I can't talk today. It is actually a holiday today here in the UK. Privacy checkup. So who do you want to see your next post? So this is the section that you would just click and it'll have a drop-down menu of who can see what. But as I said, it's only your next post, your profile, your app privacy. Who can see these posts? I think I've done that one. Sorry, these are just slides I pulled together very quickly. This is the Facebook help page. If anybody's got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I can see there's a few people watching, but I know it is a holiday, so I don't expect people to be sitting through this one. It's nearly lunchtime. Okay, so what you've got here is, this is the help center, and all sorts of different things, you know, for help of how to use it. But you can go through your password, your profile settings. Your password, really important. This is obvious basic stuff. Your password needs to be difficult to guess, and don't ever share it on email. You could have the two-factor authentication set up so that you know, it's going to be really secure. So have a look in these keeping your account secure sections. You can just decide a little bit about ad preferences, what kind of things they can target at you. Here is where you find the deactivating or deleting your account. Apparently, Facebook are going to make this clearer and easier for people to find. And I've actually been surprised looking at my friends how many people have already deactivated their Facebook account. It's really quite, I was really surprised actually. So this has really shaken trust in Facebook, and with good reason. They needed a big wake-up call. So here's your managing your account section. So that's if you decide you want to deactivate or delete your account. First of all, before you decide to do that, I'd recommend that you download your data so you can see exactly what Facebook knows about you. And you might wish to go in and delete some of that sort of stuff before you delete the account. Your privacy section here. So staying safe online, keeping it on, you know, unfriending, blocking, hacked accounts, etc., etc. I'm not going to cover any of the hacking and, you know, how to block people, because I'm pretty sure that anybody would know, you know, how to unfriend somebody. This is what we've got coming up in Facebook. They say that currently this image on the left would be what Facebook you'd find on your phone. So you'd have to go down all the different sections of it. They're going to make it a lot easier, apparently, to access your profile information and your settings and all of that sort of stuff. Oops, sorry, I've gone backwards. And this is what you're going to see when you get the new settings on Facebook. It'll be showing you very, very clearly where you can find information out about yourself. I think if you're using Facebook, you need to just consider carefully about who you're saying what to. Maybe you'd like to like a picture from somebody and then go in later on when they've seen it and unlike it, just in case that remains public somewhere. I know I sound totally paranoid, but with good reason. Nobody knows who is looking at this sort of stuff. So I think it's better, the precautionary principle, better to be safe than sorry. I personally think that we shouldn't be doing these silly quizzes on Facebook and sharing them with your friends and asking your friends to do it. A lot of these quizzes is where the problem has lain. They then get information about your friends. The other thing I think is absolutely diabolical is encouraging you to find your friends on Facebook by uploading your contacts. Don't upload your contacts. Your friends haven't given permission to Facebook to have their phone number and all their details shared like that. So never, never, never do that, you know, finding your friends that way. Find them naturally. What about Messenger? Should we limit our use of that? Frankly, I don't trust Messenger either. And I would limit your use of it and what you share on it, because it's owned by Facebook. WhatsApp is encrypted end-to-end and supposed to be more secure, but that is also owned by Facebook, as is Instagram. So many of the issues that we will be facing with Facebook, be cautious on Instagram too, because it's Facebook. I'm pretty sure that now they've got nowhere to hide with their privacy, and they're having to rewrite their you know, terms and conditions to make it more transparent. But just to be aware, don't share your contacts. Use a different email address. Only like or comment on stuff that's shared with your friends. You know, if it's public stuff, then think about who might be looking at your profile. Check it first to make sure you're not revealing anything about yourself. Take out your phone number. I've already said that. But anyway, next thing. So the other thing is what you allow your phone to share about you. And this is where it sometimes gets a bit scary. Obviously, I've got here a picture of an iPhone, and other types of phones are available. But in an iPhone, if you go to settings and privacy and location services, have a look at what the different apps are, you know, what different apps have got access to your account. For location wise, I frankly think none of them need to know where you are. obviously Google Maps, if you want to know you're going to get lost, or maybe you want to know what the weather is like in a particular area, or you want to be able to hail an Uber or something. But otherwise, why does Facebook need to know where you are? Why does anybody need to know where you are? So you can go through the individual settings here. And so there's never, always, or while using the app. While using the app doesn't mean it stops it. It just means you probably forget about it. So for example, in Instagram, you may think, oh, I'll just have it when I'm using the app. But the next time you go in and use the app, which might be from home, it still records your location. So be super, super careful about the location part of it and who has access to it. Oops, nope, I haven't finished yet. Back into the section about apps. So I can't remember where that was. Here. If you go and look at apps, Facebook and mobile apps and what they have access to, you need to go through individually each of these apps and see what they can see about you, what they're sharing about you. So they might have read and write. They might want access to your contacts. They might want access to your photos. I haven't, I'm afraid, got a screen grab of that, I don't think, here. I thought I'd taken one, but I think I was in a hurry to get up, so no, don't think it's there. But anyway, the apps here. So just go through and it'll show you. You've probably got, you know, Instagram or Adobe Post or, you know, whatever it is, that you'll find a huge number of apps that have access to your account that you've granted access with. If you're not using them, delete them. You know, just cut them out of Facebook altogether, and also in Twitter. Go through your apps in Twitter as well. But they have different rights, and some of them are actually quite shocking. The ability to see your contacts or to have access to your photos or, you know, whatever it is. I think you need to watch out for that and be, again, very, very careful about who can see your stuff. So that's the one that is the leaky part of data that we were talking about. Most of the rest of it is actually up to you and your behavior. How much are you prepared to share with people, and how much are you not happy about people knowing? There are so many different aspects to this. I could go on and on and on, but it is actually a holiday. I can obviously answer questions offline if you want me to. You could send me a message on Twitter, and it's at Sue Llewellyn. The name should be at the bottom of the screen here. If you wanted to DM me on Twitter, you're very welcome to, and ask a question about privacy settings. And if you want to know anything more about the Thompson Foundation's Journalism Now scheme, then do go to the website and have a look. It's full of incredibly useful things for journalists, obviously. So, thank you very much. That's very sweet of you saying that's great. I hope it was helpful. And that's it. Thanks very much for joining us. Bye.